Good morning and happy Tuesday, or whatever day you end up watching this. So Teri and I are finally ready to show you what we've been working on for the last 3-4 weeks, something like that.
I don't think it's been 4.
Oh, it seems
it
like
doesn't matter.
Seems like it. And there's a lot to it, so we're actually going to spread it over the next 2 weeks, this week and next week. But what we're going to be talking about are disappearing blocks. So y'all are very familiar with the disappearing 4-patch, disappearing 9-patch. There's a lot of information out there. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through those 2 blocks this week, and then we're going to expand it next week. And we're just going to kind of give you the what and then show you the projects that we've made. Okay? So we're going to start off with a disappearing 4-patch. And the whole premise about these disappearing blocks are that you're starting off with a very basic unit. 4-patch, 9-patch.
You just said eunuch.
Did I?
Yes. Unit.
Unit. I don't know where my brain went there for a minute. Really have
That's
no
all
clue.
right. That's all right.
Okay, so you're starting off with a basic unit, a 4-patch and a 9-patch. Very hard to screw those up, but there are still basics that you have to do to make sure that everything is working well with them. So the first thing is making sure that all of your little intersections are meeting the way that they are. So what I did here, and actually what we're doing is we're playing with pre-cuts too. So layer cakes and charms, 5 and 10-inch squares. Because once you get into these, you don't want to worry about the cutting out part. You just want to start diving in and seeing, because there's so many different options that you could do with these blocks.
Do you want to talk, Marty, about the fact that sometimes pre-cuts are not the same size? So it's a good idea. Okay, all right.
We'll get to that in a little bit. So what I started out with was a 4-patch here. And whenever I do a 4-patch, I do like doing that twisted seam. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll chain sew these guys. You know, you put your top 2, your bottom 2 together, and then you keep running through, and then you flip them around and do the last seam on them. But the one thing that you've got to do when you're chain sewing, and I think this is what most people have a problem with when they're not having success with this twist. When you're chain sewing, there's always a little bit of thread sticking in between them. You've got to get that out of there, because what you're doing is you're kind of breaking a few of these stitches. So if the thread is sticking out there, it's not going to allow you to do that. And then remember, all you got to do is kind of look at it and say, okay, this is the front one, so it's coming towards me. That one's in the back, so it's going towards the back. So I just kind of reach inside those seam allowances and give it a twist. Okay? So then that allows you, and I like pressing from the back side first, because then it allows you to push the seams the way that they're supposed to go. So you can see that this one wants to go that way. So we'll give it a little bit of help. I'm tugging a little bit over here, just a little bit, so that I don't get any little creases underneath there. And you can see this one wants to lay that way. So we're going to do the same thing. Give her a twist. Press the last 2 seam allowances, because as I said, this way you can make sure that all of your seams are going in the direction that they should be. And then the last thing is to hit that center, and what I usually do is put my finger on it, and you can see how you get a little 9-patch in there. 4-patch.
Oh my God. Sorry.
4-patch.
We've been working 9-patch, 4-patches, and a lot of blocks lately.
So then the last step is to flip it over and give it a nice press.
And see the perfect center.
And it's very nice and flat too, because with that twist, it alleviates a lot of that bulk. Now that little twist can only be done with a 4-patch. You can't do it with a 9-patch or anything. It's only when you're sewing 4 pieces together. Now that doesn't mean that it's just 4 squares. You can sew 4 half square triangles, 4 quarter square triangles, whatever it is. But as long as it's 4 units, then you can do that twist, and it really will help alleviate that bulk. So I think now what we're going to do is Teri's going to show you how you can cut these 4 patches to get some really funky designs. Okay? So we're going to move and move and move and move.
And I'm going to come over here.
I think you just got my hand there for a minute, but
okay, now with 90% of these things, and let us to also point out, there are a ton. We're not so much concentrating on patterns this week and next week, but we're concentrating on the pre-cuts, the layer cakes, the charm squares. That's what works the best for these. So there are a ton of patterns on and a ton of information on the web. Just start Googling disappearing whatever, and you will find tons and tons of videos. That's how we got started. I mean, it's been around, but we really dove into it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take, here's my little 4-patch that Marty just
Or a
pressed.
big 4-patch.
A big 4-patch that Marty pressed, got our nice little twist in the middle. And what we're going to do now is we're going to cut it. As I go grab my cutter.
And if you think about it, 4-patch, basic unit. Everybody, beginner up, can do a 4-patch. Kids can do a 4-patch.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut. On this one, it is not as important to worry about how much. So I'm going to cut 2 inches on each side of my center seam. That's how I'm going to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my 2 inches here.
Except that that's your 3.
Except for that's my 3. Thank you very much.
I think we need a referee today.
Obviously, or somebody who knows what they're doing to get in here. Okay, so I've got 2 inches. This is one of those ones too where you want to think twice, cut once.
Yes.
Because if you screw it up, you've lost these blocks. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the middle, and then I'm just going to double check my ruler up here and make sure that I've got that. Okay. Now, it really is handy if you can cut right and left-handed, because I'm just going to flip my ruler over now, and I'm going to put my 2 inches. Yes, it is my 2 inches on that center line, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. And then I'm going to go up here and make sure that the second half is where it's supposed to be, and I'm going to cut. So now, if you've got the option that you can put it on a table like this, you're going to have to come up here a little bit, Marty. I'm just going to walk around my table because I don't want to really disrupt this. So I'm just walking around my table, going to the other end, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. 1, 2. Cut up. You're not seeing the back, are you?
I'm trying not to.
I know. So I'm doing the same exact thing, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So I am going to take my 2 inches, go up to the center, double check everything up here, and there we go. So I've cut twice and twice. So now
the 2-inch measurement, sorry, I just have to interject here, is arbitrary.
On this one.
Yeah, when you're doing this, I mean, you can cut 2 inches, you can cut 1.5 inches. I probably wouldn't go less than 1.5 inches, especially on 10-inch squares. But you know, you can mess with the
program.
Right. That's
so
the whole point.
This is what you end up with once you get everything cut. All right. Now is when you can start having fun. Now is when you can start saying, okay, what do I want to go where? So
can I interject one more time?
Yes, you may.
But this is the whole point of the disappearing block. As you can see now, once she kind of exploded this, if you were just going to piece this, you'd have to be making, you know, stratas out of this. You'd have to be making 4 patches, and you did that all with just one. 4 big squares.
Whatever squares. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start flopping my pieces around, because I don't want, obviously, to put black against black or peach against peach. So the first thing I was going to do is I turn that over there, and then I'm going to turn that there. The same thing here. And the same thing here. All right? And then you're going to say, what do I do with my center? Do I leave it like that, or do I flip it around? If I flip it around, I'm matching it. So I'm going to leave it just like that, and that now becomes my block. I'm not going to take the time to sew it because you can all visualize this.
Yeah, you don't need to, because basically you now have a 9-patch to sew together.
Right, and there is my block.
Do me a favor, flip that center again.
Sorry. Oh,
That's
there's another way.
kind of cool too.
Yeah, see, that's another way you can do it.
That's kind of cool too.
Yeah, you can, and this is the thing, you can actually take these and, you know, let your own, let your freak flag fly. Do whatever you want. If you like something else, change it, do it whatever it wants. But anyways, that is the basics behind it. You're going to start out with 2 on this particular one. You can do this with charm squares too. But we started out with two 10-inch squares. One of the black cats, one of the peach. Layered them together. No.
We had a 4-patch.
4-patch. I'm sorry. We had 2.
2 of each.
2 of each, thank you. I'm sorry, my brain is fried today. Do I say that too much?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things that if you have a fabric that is background acting, you need 2 backgrounds. and then 2 colors. Okay?
So this is what we started with, and that is what we ended up with. Ta-da, ta-da. Now, did we want to cut this one too also? Okay.
Yeah. So
All
if
right.
you didn't want to work with a block that has 2 of the same colors, so the 2 peach and the 2 cats, we threw together another little one that we mixed up the 4 patch a little bit.
And if you have one of these little doggers, they are wonderful. I've been cutting mine because I've got 2 more in the works. So I'm so bad because I didn't want to be in my sewing room all by myself. So I went upstairs, got out a footstool, sat in my good chair, put this, and I was just cut, flip, cut, turn, cut, turn. It was perfect. So anyways, I'm going to do the same thing here. Instead of going to maybe I'll go down to 1.5.
Yeah, because we use charm squares on this guy.
Right. So you maybe want to do a little bit smaller piecing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my 1.5 here. And then remember, we have to go over and do the other side. The same cut, hopefully. 1.5. And then you're going to flip it. That's the beauty. You don't have to disturb anything. What was I doing? 1.5. 1.5. Double check it. So you could do, it's just like the world is your oyster. Charm packs work great if you want something with a lot of colors. If you want to just do 2 colors, you can do that. If you've got scraps, you can use those. It's whatever your little heart desires. So now we're going to do the same thing. Explode this out. And then let's flip this around. Oh, you use 2 colors, Marty. You're really going to freak me out now.
You make you work for it, Teri.
I have to think now. So that will go there, maybe.
You're trying to make the same block. Just flip them like you did before.
I don't know where to put these. That will go down there.
Switch the blue with that one. Yep.
That will go there.
Mm-hmm.
That will go there.
Yep.
That will go there. Depending on how we want that to be. That will go there, there, and there. So you kind of almost have a 1.5 block.
Right.
That's kind of fun too. Very nice. Okay.
And you figured it out, Teri.
Yeah.
Your brain is not fried.
It is fine. So anyways, disappearing for 4
Do
patch.
me a favor. Flip the center again. That's kind of cool too.
That's nice. Okay, so the quilt that I did using this technique, what I did is I took it's kind of like a variegated light to dark navy layer cake, and I took a consistent white with a pearlescent design on it background, and this is the quilt that I made with it. Ta-da!
So this used the Kasuri layer cake that we have on the website. So you have all those shadings, and then when you put it together, Teri decided to shade it light to dark rather than just randomizing the blocks.
And then just for kicks and giggles, we decided it needed a border, so I just used 2 of the navies and one of the lighter blues. Then did a little 9 patch in the corners, and Bob's your uncle. So that's the disappearing 4 patch.
Right, and this we're calling Shades of Indigo.
Shades of Indigo. Okay, now we're going to go to what Marty did, because Marty did a disappearing
9 patch.
9 patch. Sorry, got to get the
So a little
mess
bit of the
cleaned up.
difference. Yep. Watch this.
Oh, don't throw it on.
Pointing it, please.
I was going to say, don't throw it on the floor like Eleanor
No.
Burns does.
So I'm not going to take the time to press this one, but you can see basically what we're doing the same thing. Make a 9 patch, okay? You can either do it 2 colors, or we're going to do some mixed colors later. Actually, I need to press it. Sorry.
Yep. You
Gotta
can't
press it
start
when
with
they
these,
cut it.
right?
Huh?
You can't start with those.
No, so
Oh, this is going to be a long one.
we do have kits available for these projects that we're going to show you, the 2 that we're doing today. And then the other best thing is we are also doing a sale on our pre-cuts, on the layer cakes and the charm packs on the website. So any of the ones that we have listed there, which Kasuri, the indigo, the Shades of Indigo that Teri did behind you, all of those are going to be 20% off for actually the next 2 weeks, because we decided we would keep it for the whole time that we're doing these kinds of projects. Okay.
Now, another thing while Marty's walking this way, we want to talk about the trimming of the blocks. No,
Next week.
Next week. Never mind. We're going to talk about that next week.
Next week.
Jeez, Marty, I want to talk about it.
No, you have talking next week.
Okay, because we're running too long.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So we're starting out. Now, if you think about what we did with the 4-patch, we had a center seam that we were cutting on both sides. You can't do that on a 9-patch because you don't have a center seam. So basically, what we're going to do this one is we're just going to cut it both ways. Okay. Now, they also make patterns that are called double disappearing 9-patch.
Well, we're not going to get into
We're
that
not
today.
getting into those today,
Yeah.
no, or else we'd be here for dinner. So when you figure out where your middle is, what you want to do is measure your center block, which I've got a 4.5, which yay, started with charm squares. So half of that is going to be 2 1/4. So what I can do is I can just lay my 2 1/4 line on a seam line.
That is so perfectly
And I would
straight.
rather use the seam line rather than the edge. Give it a cut, and then do the same thing in the other direction. Okay? So then when you have this, you end up with blocks like these guys. Now in themselves, you can just put them block to block to block kind of a thing. But if you start reorganizing them, and I've got to stop and think about this for a second.
Yeah, you do have to think about it.
It's to me, the disappearing 9-patch is much better with multiple colors. Because if you start, you can kind of see when you flip-flop them back and forth, you are going to get a design, but you get too much of it bleeding in on itself. So if we look at this with different colored block, starting with a 9-patch with multiple colors in it, and what I did is I did 2 different ones. I wanted to see if it would make a difference if you opposited them or if you did them same size. So we're going to see.
We shall see.
I'm assuming my seam allowance is the same because I don't want to measure again, so we're just going to... And I found, again, I'm a little taller, so that worked better for me, that going to the kitchen counter worked really great for this.
Well, your kitchen counters are higher, too.
Yes. So you can see now, when you start flipping these around, if you think about it, I'm putting every other block the same. You're going to start getting a little bit more of a pattern where these,
Well, you know what we were talking, yeah.
Yes.
You can't do it with that again.
Well, I can make a square. And what you're going to end up is you're going to have kissing cousins here and kissing cousins here. Kind of a thing.
Oh my gosh, when did you come up with that?
I don't know.
Ugh. Okay, do the other one.
Okay, so that's kind of the layout that you're going to get with the 9-patch. Let's whack this one up real quick and see if it gives us the same thing. So 2 1/4. That'd be really embarrassing if I cut myself this time, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. If there's blood spurting.
I think actually we're going to get the same thing. So you're still going to get the same pieces.
Well, good. So then you can put two rows or 2 blocks together.
So now I know. And what I'm doing when I'm doing the row is I'm looking at these guys. So I'm keeping the blue up, the yellow down. And then when I go the next row, I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to keep this one up. That's
or,
right.
No. You have to do your kissing thing again, Marty.
Yep, there you go.
There you go. But again, if you are
So
into
you remembered that, didn't you?
Yeah, if you're into the designing part, it really is kind of fun to just see, what can I accomplish?
And if you think about a whole quilt of this is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, now do you want to take the time to put the...
Yes, so what I did with the disappearing 9-patch is I played with a charm square that we have on the website, and it's called In Full Bloom. And we had a panel that went with it. So I incorporated the panel in with it.
So I'm going to wait and give you the big aha or the...
I got no pins here.
Oh, wait a minute.
It'll stick.
No, it won't.
It probably won't.
Where did I put the pin cushion? Sorry about that. Where did it go? So we're going to look, we'll just sit here and gaze at the blue. Shades of blue, shades of indigo.
What
That
size
is so calming. Oh, the blue one is like 85, 84, whatever. That's very crooked, but do you care?
Nope.
Okay. So Marty, with the panel. Oh, I got to come over on this side.
So what I did with this one is I went
she
ahead
made
and
this.
made all of the blocks. And in that charm pack, there were a lot of lights. So I always made sure that that light went in the middle of my 9 patch. So that was always the little square. And then what I did is I cut out each one of the panels, figured out what size I needed to make it to, put a little coping border around them, and then just laid out the blocks. So you can take something like a silly panel and make a really gorgeous kind of lap quilt.
Love grows here. Live life in full bloom. What is this one? Love blooms around you.
And then grow wild and be free.
Grow wild and be free. So this is just an example of intertwining or intermixing a disappearing something other block
With something else.
with something else. You don't just have to put block next to block
Right.
next to block.
Right.
So these two will be kits
Yeah,
as
these are kits.
yeah.
So that one's called Shades of Indigo. This one is called Full Bloom. This one I think is like 48
Don't
by
say
53.
because
Not
yeah.
100% sure. The Shades of Blue, I was going to give you a price and I can't even
Don't
remember
we
about
can't
it.
remember, yeah.
Can't remember, so I'm not going to misquote myself. So anyways, these are just really fun blocks to play with. So, but we wanted to do the basics first, 4-patch, 9-patch, before then we're going to lead next week, and we're really going to have a blast. So you may want to put your slippers on for next week, might be a little bit longer. So that's all for this week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, bye.